One of the most violent strikes known to man is when those big bass blow up on a frog, guys. Let's talk about the do's and don'ts and how to catch more fish. This is my favorite technique, the popping frog. Let's talk about it. I tell you what, some of the most fun days I've ever had on the water was fishing a popping frog, especially down here in Lake Okeechobee. I've had several big 30-pound bags in tournaments, guys, on a popping frog. It's pretty special. But you know, it's a bait that is not an everyday bait. It's not a year-round thing. Like, you can throw a lot of the baits year-round. It's a very situational type targeted approach. And what I mean by that is, you know, it's in the spring. It's when that water temperatures start to rise, top water time of the year. Water temperatures get up above 60, 65 degrees, depending on where you are, obviously. But down here in the south, it's at 65, really more close to 70 is when that frog gets right. And also water depth. It's not a bait that I'm gonna throw out over 10 foot of water. It's a bait that I'm gonna throw in that shallow, you know, 2 to 6 feet of water, especially if there's a lot of submerged vegetation or matted up grass, then depth doesn't matter. But these fish aren't gonna come from 10 foot down to hit it on top. So it's a bait that I'm gonna throw, you know, along the shoreline, across a big flat of grass, around the lily pads. You know, I'm targeting it kind of where you would envision a frog living and being, to be honest with you. That's really the best way to put it. Again, water temperature is important. Again, I like that 70 and above temperature. You know, I really do. If it's super hot, like middle of the summer, first thing in the morning or late in the afternoon, it's probably your best time to throw it. When it gets super hot, middle part of the day, sunny, yeah, they're not as good. You know, those fish are gonna kind of bury up in that thick stuff. But that's when you can target the matted up grass, you know? It's those days with a popping frog where you're fishing along a shoreline or open holes in the grass, around a lily pad field, a lot of places you can fish it. But when it gets real sunny, real hot, and those fish go in those big, tight, thick mats, that's when I'm gonna kind of get away from a popping frog. I'm gonna throw your more traditional pointed nose walking frog, okay? This bait right here, I'm gonna use more in the open water holes, along a shoreline, around a laydown, under the bushes, stuff like that. That's when I use that popping frog. But it's a bait that is just so awesome, guys. Color-wise, pretty basic. I like my blacks. I like my bluegill colors, which I have here, kind of froggy. I like a straight black, I like a straight white. I like kind of a bluegill color. You know, I haven't thrown this particular one here. This is pretty unique. It's got that black and yellow back, which is a real popular color, and it has the brown on the bottom. So, you know, they're pretty much seeing the bottom. This right here is for you. This right here is for the bass. So same thing. If they're eating a lot of shad in the area or a lot of bluegill, you know, you look at this bait here and you say, okay, well, that's a green back bait. Well, no, really, it's a white bottom bait with a little bit of orange and some spots. So that imitates more of a bluegill. So I'm gonna kind of pick my baits accordingly to what the bottom of the bait looks like, more so than the top. You know, a lot of guys talk about trimming the legs on these frogs. They come standard at that level right there, or that length. And I probably will cut off a 1/2 inch. Not a lot, but a 1/2 inch. And I'll leave one side a little bit longer. But, you know, for the most part on a popping frog, I cut them close to the same. It's not gonna be super exaggerated, but I do one off about, you know, about maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch at most. It just allows those fish, at times I've seen it where they come up behind the bait, and if you got a lot of leg out, they'll come up and they'll grab the legs of the bait more so than the body, and they kind of, you miss them a lot of times because they don't quite have the bait all the way in their mouth. So a little trimming those legs up just a little bit makes that bait a little more compact, and those fish will actually inhale it a little bit better. And the baits that I've got right here, guys, are the brand new Bass Mafia popping frogs called the Cannonball. We've been working on this thing for over 2 years, guys. I mean, I have so many samples in my garage. We've been playing with this thing, and it is finally out. I like what they've done with it. A couple unique things about this frog that really kind of separate it from a lot of the other ones is this unique weighted hook. Okay, a lot of the other frogs out there on the market have a weight system that's attached to the body, and this is actually attached to the hook. That allows, with a lower center of gravity, allows this bait to kind of pop through the water correctly, and also allows and improves skipping as well. So that weighted on the bottom is really good. It also has like a heat shrink tubing here in the middle, so the water is not going to get inside your bait that often. And it has an exit hole back here in the back. So as you go to cast, a lot of times it all comes out. So it stays pretty buoyant, doesn't fill up too much. And with this unique hook design right here, it really allows this bait to collapse all the way down instead of having those weights in the way, and get you those extra hookups, those extra fish in the boat scenarios, which is so important with the frog. You have to have a good hookup ratio, and that extra little gap right there really makes a difference. So the other thing, it has a wide mouth, so it pops and moves a lot of water, and it's really the perfect size. You know, it's not too wide. I've seen some of the other frogs out there on the market, they're real wide, and I've seen some that are real skinny. You know, everybody's kind of got their own little take on it. So in my opinion, this is a really good average size frog right here. I've caught a lot of fish on these frogs already. It's been great. I've cast well. It's definitely a good frog. The hook in this thing, super heavy duty hook, guys, okay? I mean, that is real sharp and real heavy duty, so no need to replace the hooks. It's the right size hook. The only thing that I will do on these hooks occasionally, and it depends on where I'm fishing and what I'm doing, but I will bend these out just a little bit, okay? I'll take them right there, grab the base of the frog, bend that up just a hair, do the same on this side. There we go. It just lifts that up just a little bit, where you can see that that point is really just kind of angled up just a hair. So that slides across in the back of their mouth. It sticks them. I'll even bend it up a little bit more at times. So again, I'll just adjust them accordingly. If I'm in real thick vegetation, I will keep the hooks all normal. Or if I'm in more open water, I'll bend them up and open them up a little bit wider. So that's pretty much how it goes right there, guys. That's a really good frog. Let's talk about the rod and reel setup, because that is important as well. All right, rod and reel setup, guys, some pretty important things to talk about here. This is a Lew's signature frog rod. So if you go to Lew's website and you look at the rod, it'll be classified as a frog rod. And it's the perfect action, perfect size. It's not too heavy. It's a 7.3. It allows you to really pop that frog good. It's got enough backbone that really drives the hook well, and good to go on that thing. It's got a shorter handle right here, which is great. So it's not a real long handle, and allows me to really pop it and work it through the grass and work it through the holes really good, and an accurate cast as well. Braid. That's all I'm gonna fish with. When I'm fishing a frog, I'm not gonna fish fluorocarbon, not gonna fish mono. So again, braid all the time, guys. I'm gonna go with the P-Line no fade braid. That is my brand new, most favorite line of all time that P-Line just came out with this last year. I cannot express how happy I am with this line. No fade braid, guys. Guaranteed not to fade. It's just, it feels good, it casts good. It's just got the perfect everything with it. So it's really good slick braid. There is differences in braid. I've fished with every kind of braid you can imagine. Some braid I like a lot. Some braid I don't care for so as much, because of the way it feels, the way it casts, the way it, all these different things. This no fade braid by P-Line is absolutely awesome. 50 pound is what I go with most of the time. If I'm at Gunnersville and I'm fishing a bigger rod, which we'll talk about in a minute, and I'm winching these things out of the grass from 40 yards away, I might go to 65, but 50 is kind of my go-to. Why I like 50 is, again, a lot like why I don't go to a heavy line on my crankbaits, because it really impedes the action. That 50, it's soft, it bends, that frog, it walks a little more, it pops a little more, it's just lively. 50 is really the go-to on that. And that's all you need for the most part. I haven't really ever had any problems with 50 here at Okeechobee. Fishing around the cattails and open water stuff, 50 is fine. High speed reel. I really recommend an 8-to-1. This is a Lew's Custom Pro right here. It's a 7.5 on this particular one here, which is fine. It's a high 7. So a high 7 reel to an 8 gear ratio is kind of what you want to go with. You don't want to fish a 6 to 3-to-1 or like a 5-to-1 if you had one laying around in your garage, because when you get that bite far away and you reel down to try to set the hook, you're probably not going to drive the hooks right. So the other thing is the strike. I fish with a lot of people on my boat, and we're frog fishing here at Okeechobee, and it's like you're popping it along, right? And you get the strike and they instantly set the hook. I don't. I literally, I'll just be popping it along, boom, gather my stuff, get my body right, say out loud or in my brain, there's one, reel down and set the hook, drive it hard and reel like crazy. That's how I set the hook, and that's how I fight those fish. I want to get their heads up and coming to me. I don't want to like set the hook and hold them there and let them swim down in the grass. Hit them hard, stun them, get them up to the top and crank them in. And that's how you want to set the hook. And again, letting those fish eat it just a little bit. is very important. It allows that frog to get down there, their throat just a little bit, because you know you're going to hook them in the roof of the mouth most of the time, or you know on the outside of the lip. So that's how I like to set the hook. The other thing is how I like to retrieve a popping frog. You know, for me, you can play around with it in the spring, post spawn, where there's a lot of fry garters going on. There's a lot of bluegill in the area. I'll fish a faster retrieve, like a pop, 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 pause, pop, 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 whatever. I'll play around with it a little faster. In the early spring or during the spawn, where the fish are actually spawning on beds, and I'm trying to keep that bait in the strike zone a little bit longer, that's when I'm gonna go to more of my steady pop, let it sit, pop, let it sit, pop, let it sit, in a strike zone area. I'm not gonna do it all the way back to the boat. I'm picking up like a corner out or a hole in the grass or a grass line. I'm thinking, okay, this is where the fish are gonna be, right here, and I'm gonna work it slow through that area. I want a little bit more time with that frog in the strike zone. I'm gonna always pop it kind of the same way. It's one of those techniques that you don't pop it up. I'm not popping it over here. I'm not doing a bunch of weird stuff. I kind of set my position and I pop it the same direction. I'll just move my body accordingly, right? And I'll pop it like this down, kind of at a 45 or down, and I'm just reeling the line up as I'm going. I'm not reeling and popping. I'm popping and reeling up the slack that I'm creating with the pop. So that's basically what I'm doing, guys. Just kind of working it through there. You want that nice little, it's hard to explain, but that nice little blub, like bloop, bloop. You don't want a big, gigantic splash, and you don't want it just doing nothing. You want this like bloop, bloop. It's just bubble. Like you'll see that bubble in the front of that frog. Real important. Again, that cadence is so important. If and when you start getting bit, remember what you're doing and how you're working it, because it does make a difference. Every day is a little different. The only other thing I would do is if I'm fishing like Guntersville, I'm fishing big matted up grass, longer cast, I'm gonna go to like a 7.4 or a 7.6 heavy action rod, 65-pound line, same gear ratio reel, of course, and do that, guys. So listen, fish a frog, have fun. It's one of my most favorite ways of catching bass. But be sure to check out the new Bass Mafia Cannonball frog. Brand new, it's out right now. Pretty awesome stuff, guys. Lots of cool colors to choose from. Hopefully these tips and techniques will help you catch some more fish along the way, guys. So thanks for hanging out.